Goals are good for setting direction, but systems are best for making progress. That simple truth separates the dreamers from the doers. Most people don't fail because they set the wrong goals. They fail because they never built a system to reach them. They get excited, they make plans, they write it all down. But when the real world shows up with distractions, stress, and setbacks, their goals disappear into the background. Here's the truth. Motivation is a spark. It feels great, but it burns out fast. What you need isn't more hype. You need a machine, a repeatable process, a system that keeps moving even when your energy doesn't. Today, I'm going to show you how to build systems that actually help you achieve your goals. Not in theory, not someday, but in your real everyday life. Systems that support you when you're tired. Systems that make progress automatic. Systems that take your big dreams and break them down into small daily actions you can win at. This isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter, with structure. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I show you how to create systems that don't just push you toward your goals. They pull you there. Let's dive in. Number 1. Stop chasing goals without a game plan. You've heard it before, set big goals. Aim high, dream big, and that's fine. But here's the real reason most people never get there. They're chasing goals without a game plan. They get fired up, write down a dream like I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to build a business, and then nothing. No system, no process, just raw enthusiasm. And that wears off by week 2. A goal without a plan is just a wish. You need more than intention. You need structure. Think about it like this. A goal is the destination, but your system is the road that takes you there. If you don't have a clear road to follow, you'll get lost every time, no matter how passionate you are at the starting line. Let's say someone wants to write a book. They set a goal, write a 300-page novel. Great. But if they don't set a daily writing schedule, if they don't decide how many words they'll write per day, or how they'll handle edits, feedback, or inspiration droughts, they're stuck. A system would say, write 500 words every morning from 7 to 8 a.m. no matter what. That's a plan. That's the game. The truth is, people love the high of goal setting because it feels like progress. You feel productive just writing it down. But execution is where everything changes. You need to stop focusing so much on the finish line and start building the track under your feet. And here's the part most people miss. Your game plan doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the more likely you'll stick with it. A good system isn't about overloading your day. It's about designing repeatable actions that move you forward without depending on how you feel. Discipline beats motivation, but discipline comes from systems. When you know what to do every day, when your next move is clear, you don't waste energy guessing or doubting, you just execute. And each day you do that, your confidence grows, not because you hit the goal yet, but because you're finally moving toward it with direction and control. So if you've been chasing goals and getting nowhere, stop, take a breath. Strip it all down and ask yourself, what's the game plan? What's the daily process? Once you know that, you're no longer just dreaming, you're building. Number 2, build habits that run on autopilot. Let's get one thing straight. Willpower is not a reliable partner. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up ready to take on the world. Other days, you can't even take on your alarm clock. That's why relying on motivation is a trap. If you only work when you feel like it, your results will be inconsistent, scattered, and weak. But if you build habits, real, repeatable habits, your success starts to run on autopilot. Habits are the hidden engines behind every successful person. Not flashy, not exciting, but powerful. Because once a habit is built, it stops requiring effort. It becomes automatic. You don't think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. Imagine if working out, planning your day, reading, writing, or saving money became just as natural. That's the goal. Turn effort into instinct. Now here's where most people go wrong. They try to overhaul everything at once. They make a long list, wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, journal, meditate, read, eat healthy, build a side business, all starting Monday. And by Wednesday, it's all out the window. Why? Because they're trying to change through intensity, not consistency. But lasting change doesn't come from a sprint. It comes from daily, repeatable effort, done until it becomes who you are. Start small. One habit, one system at a time. If your goal is to get fit, don't commit to an hour-long workout every day right away. Start with a 10-minute walk after dinner. Simple, easy, but consistent. That's how you build trust with yourself. And once the habit sticks, you add more. Stack it, expand it, but never skip the foundation. And here's the truth. Most people need to hear your habits reveal what you're actually committed to, not what you say you want. If you say you want to write a book, but you haven't written a page in a week, your system isn't set up right. If you say you want to grow your income, but your daily habits are filled with distractions and dead time, the truth is you're not aligned yet. That's not a judgment. It's an opportunity. Because once you become aware of that, you can fix it. Think of your daily habits like a script you're programming into your life. You're not leaving your success up to chance anymore. You're not depending on being in the mood. You're building a system that works in the background, carrying you forward without constant effort. That's how momentum starts. And once it does, everything gets easier. So take a hard look at your daily routine. What's on autopilot right now? And is it moving you forward or holding you back? Replace the junk, add one good habit, then another, and another. Before long, you won't even recognize your old life, because you'll be too busy living the results of your new one. Number 3, design your environment to work for you. You can have the strongest will in the world, but if your environment is working against you, it's only a matter of time before it breaks you. People underestimate how much their surroundings shape their behavior. You're not just a product of your choices, you're a product of your setup. If your phone is always buzzing with distractions, if your workspace is cluttered, if your kitchen is filled with junk food, you're not just fighting laziness, you're fighting your environment. And here's the truth. It's hard to stay consistent when everything around you pulls you in the opposite direction. That's why the smart move isn't to fight harder, it's to design better. Design your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Want to focus better? Remove distractions. Turn off notifications. Use website blockers. Clean your desk. Make it easier to get into flow than it is to scroll your life away. Want to eat better? Don't just promise yourself you'll have willpower next time. Go into the kitchen, throw out the junk, and prep healthy food in advance. Make the right choice the easy one. Here's the simple rule. What's easy gets done. What's in front of you gets used. That means if your gym clothes are buried at the bottom of your closet, your odds of working out drop. But if they're laid out the night before, you've already won half the battle. If your notebook or laptop is open and ready in the morning, you're more likely to write. If your to-do list is visible and organized, you'll act. This isn't about discipline, it's about reducing friction. And this works in every area of life. Want better conversations? Make time and space to talk without phones in your hands. Want to save more money? Set up automatic transfers to a savings account so you don't have to think about it. Want to build a reading habit? Keep a book on your nightstand instead of your phone. These aren't huge moves, but they're strategic ones. Little tweaks that shift your environment in your favor. And let's be honest, if your environment constantly triggers the wrong behaviors, don't be surprised when you keep slipping. That's not weakness. That's poor design. Your job isn't to tough it out every day. Your job is to build a system that supports who you're trying to become. So today, take inventory. Look at your surroundings. Ask yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? And don't stop until your space, physical, digital, even social, is aligned with your vision. Because when your environment supports your habits, your goals become easier to reach. Not because you suddenly became more motivated, but because the system you built finally stopped fighting you and started carrying you. Number 4, make success boring and repeatable. People chase excitement like it's the key to success. But here's the hard truth. Success is usually boring, not flashy, not dramatic, just consistent, day in and day out, doing the work when nobody's watching, when it doesn't feel exciting, when there's no applause. That's where real growth happens. The world sells you the highlight reel. Overnight wins, massive breakthroughs, fast money. But the people who actually win, they build systems that make success repeatable. They remove the guesswork. They do the same simple, effective things over and over until it's second nature. Not because it's thrilling, but because it works. The real pros treat progress like a job. They don't ask, do I feel like it today? They ask, what's the system I follow regardless of how I feel? They wake up, they follow the routine, they do the task. No drama, just discipline. That's what makes success sustainable. Think of any great athlete. Their practice isn't glamorous. It's repetitive. Drills, warm-ups, recovery, again and again. The best writers, same schedule, same word count target, every single day. The top entrepreneurs, they run boring systems, budgets, checklists, calendars, SOPs, because they know the magic is in the repeatable. And here's where most people sabotage themselves. They keep changing their routine. They start something, get bored, then jump to something new. But momentum doesn't live in novelty. It lives in repetition. You don't need something new. You need to master what already works. Your system doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be consistent. One solid morning routine, one clear block of focused time, one method for tracking results. Once it's locked in, you don't reinvent it every week. You let it run, like clockwork. And the more you run it, the easier it gets. Less thinking, less stress, more output. And yes, it might feel boring at times. That's okay. In fact, that's a sign it's working. If your system feels automatic, if your routine feels predictable, that means you've removed resistance. That means you've taken the emotion out of execution. That's when you know you're on the right track. The goal isn't to be entertained. The goal is to build a machine that delivers results. Even on the dull days, a system that removes decision fatigue, a rhythm that frees your mind to focus on growth, not chaos. So if your routine feels boring right now, don't run from it. Lean into it. Make success predictable. Make it dull, because boring is repeatable, and repeatable is what gets you results that last. When everyone else burns out chasing the next high, you'll still be standing calm, focused, and moving forward with power. Number 5. Track progress like it's your job. If you don't track it, you'll lose it. That's the reality. You can't manage what you don't measure. You can't improve what you don't observe. Yet most people try to hit their goals by guessing. They rely on gut feelings instead of data. They think they're making progress, but they never actually check. And that's how you stay stuck, by being blind to the truth. Tracking isn't about perfection. It's about clarity. It's about knowing where you stand, not where you hope you are. Whether it's your finances, your fitness, your habits, or your business, if you want real results, you need real numbers. Because numbers tell the truth, even when you don't want to hear it. Let's say your goal is to get in shape. You're working out, eating better, feeling good. But if you're not tracking your workouts, your steps, your weight, or your measurements, how do you know it's working? You don't. You're hoping. You're assuming. But when you track it daily, weekly, consistently, you see the patterns. You notice what's working. You fix what's not. The same goes for time. Want to get more done? Start tracking where your hours go. You'll be shocked how much time is leaking into distractions. But once you see it, you can fix it. Because awareness creates control. Tracking isn't complicated. You don't need a fancy app or a 10-tab spreadsheet. You just need a simple system that you'll actually use. A notebook, a habit tracker, a whiteboard, your phone's notes. The tool doesn't matter. The commitment does. Make tracking part of your routine, not an afterthought. 10 minutes a day is all it takes to stay honest with yourself. And here's the best part. Tracking creates momentum. When you see a streak, you want to keep it alive. When you watch your progress stack up, your belief grows. And belief is everything. It's the fuel that keeps you showing up, especially when results come slow. But the flip side is just as important. Tracking also shows you where you're slipping. It calls you out quietly and clearly. Not to shame you, but to wake you up. Because the goal isn't to lie to yourself. The goal is to improve. And you can't improve what you ignore. So if you're serious about building systems that work, tracking has to be part of the system. Not optional. Not once in a while. Make it a rule, a ritual, a daily check-in between where you are and where you want to be. Don't leave your progress up to memory or mood. Treat it like a professional. Track it like it's your job. Because in many ways it is. Your growth is your responsibility. And once you start tracking it, you take back control. You're no longer guessing. You're guiding. And that's how you win. Number 6. Stack your wins and build momentum. Success doesn't happen with one giant leap. It happens through a series of small wins stacked day after day. That's how momentum is built. Not from hype, not from some magical breakthrough, but from consistent effort that adds up over time. Most people overlook this because they're too busy chasing the big moment. But here's the truth. You don't need a big win, you need a bunch of small ones that lead you there. Momentum is what happens when you create a pattern of victory. Even if it's tiny, you drank enough water today, that's a win. You made your bed, another win. You stuck to your morning routine, you showed up and did the work, even if it wasn't perfect. Stack those wins, they count, they build. And more importantly, they shift your identity. Every time you follow through, you're proving something to yourself. You're reinforcing the idea that you're someone who gets it done. And once your brain starts to believe that, everything changes. You stop negotiating with your goals. You stop making excuses. You start executing. Now here's the key. You've got to make winning easier in the beginning. Set the bar low enough to clear it, but high enough to be meaningful. Don't try to climb the entire mountain in a day. Just take the next step. If you haven't worked out in months, don't commit to an hour at the gym. Just show up for 10 minutes. That's a win. The point isn't intensity, it's consistency. The more wins you rack up, the stronger your momentum gets. You'll feel it. You'll move faster, with less resistance. You won't need to hype yourself up every day because the process starts to carry you. That's the beauty of momentum. It works like compound interest. Each win adds weight to the next one. And before you know it, what used to feel hard becomes your new normal. But this only works if you track and recognize those wins, celebrate them. Not with parties or trophies, but with acknowledgement. Say it to yourself, I did what I said I'd do. That's powerful. That builds trust. And trust in yourself is the foundation of all lasting success. Too often people ignore their small victories because they're fixated on how far they still have to go. Don't fall into that trap. Look at how far you've come. Every step matters. Every action counts. And when you link them together, you create unstoppable momentum. So today, stop trying to win the whole game in one move. Win the day, then win the next one. And the next. Stack your wins like bricks. And before long, you'll have built something real, something solid, something that can't be knocked down by a bad mood, a bad day, or a bad week. That's how you build momentum. That's how you keep moving. That's how you win, one stacked win at a time. Number 7, create fail-safes for when life gets messy. No matter how disciplined you are, life will test you. You'll get sick. Your schedule will get flipped. Motivation will vanish. The weather will be off. Family emergencies will happen. That's just life. And if your system only works when everything is perfect, then you don't have a real system, you have a fragile plan waiting to break. A smart system prepares for the mess. It expects bad days. It's built with fail-safes. Because let's be honest, motivation is a luxury. What you need is a process that still works when you're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. That's how the pros do it. They don't rely on ideal conditions. They build routines that hold up when things go sideways. Let's break it down. A fail-safe is a backup plan, a simplified version of your routine that still moves you forward, even if just by an inch. Can't do your full workout? Fine. Do 15 minutes of stretching or push-ups at home. Can't meal prep for the week? Make a quick, healthy option instead of grabbing fast food. Don't have time to journal for 30 minutes? Write down 3 sentences. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to stay in motion. When life hits hard, the most dangerous thing you can do is stop completely. Because getting started again takes 10 times more energy. But if you have a fallback, something so simple, so easy, that it keeps the habit alive, you protect your momentum. You keep the wheels turning, even if they're moving slowly. And here's the magic. Those small fallback routines keep your identity intact. You don't see yourself as someone who quit. You see yourself as someone who adapts. That's powerful. That's how resilience is built. Not by never falling, but by refusing to stop. Your fail-safes should be pre-planned. Don't wait until chaos shows up to figure it out. Write it down. Decide now what your bare minimum looks like for your top priorities. What's the smallest version of progress you can still make, even on your worst day? That's your emergency system. That's your safety net. This applies to everything: work, fitness, finances, relationships. If something matters, it needs a fail-safe. Because the question isn't if life will get messy, it's when, and when it does, you'll be ready. Not with excuses, but with options. A strong system doesn't fall apart at the first sign of trouble. It flexes, it bends, it adjusts. That's how you stay consistent through real life, not the ideal version of life in your head. So build your structure, yes, but also build your safety rails. Build your plan B routines. Build your backup plays. Because when the storm hits, and it always does, you won't crumble. You'll keep moving. Maybe slower, maybe smaller, but always forward. And that's what separates the amateurs from the unstoppable. Number 8. Don't rely on memory, use tools. Let's be honest. Your brain is not a storage unit. It's not meant to hold every task, every deadline, every idea, and every reminder. Yet that's exactly what most people try to do. They walk around with mental to-do lists, hoping they'll remember everything at the right time. But here's the truth. When your mind is cluttered, your focus is scattered. You're not thinking clearly, you're just trying to keep up. Success isn't about remembering more, it's about offloading the mental weight. And that's where tools come in. The smartest performers in any field don't rely on memory. They build systems, calendars, checklists, timers, apps, notebooks, whiteboards. These aren't just accessories, they're essentials. They're how you keep your goals organized, your time managed, and your stress under control. Think of your brain as a command center, not a filing cabinet. Its real power comes from clarity, decision-making, and creativity, not storing tasks. The more you can get out of your head and into a trusted system, the more mental energy you free up for the things that actually matter. That's not laziness, that's leverage. Start with something simple. Use a calendar to block time for important routines. Use a task manager to organize your weekly priorities. Write down your goals where you can see them every day. Keep a running list of ideas, errands, habits, and reminders. It doesn't matter if it's a digital app or a paper planner. What matters is that you stop forcing your brain to juggle it all. And don't make the mistake of thinking this is about being type A or super organized. This is about freedom. When your system handles the details, your mind is free to focus. No more, oh, I forgot. No more, what was I supposed to do today? No more spinning your wheels. You have a plan. It's written down, and you're executing it one piece at a time. Even something as simple as a morning checklist can be a game changer. When you wake up, your brain doesn't have to decide what to do. It just follows the list. That removes friction. That speeds up momentum. That puts your success on rails. And yes, life will always throw curveballs. But when you've got tools in place, you can adapt faster. You know where you left off. You know what comes next. You can pause, reset, and resume without losing control. So stop trying to be the hero who remembers everything. That's not strength. That's stress. Strength is knowing how to build a system that works for you. Strength is using tools so you can focus on action, not anxiety. Get it out of your head. Get it onto paper, into an app, onto a board, anywhere but inside your brain. Because the less you carry in your mind, the more energy you'll have to go out and get things done. Number 9, tie your system to your identity. If your system is just about getting things done, it won't last. But if it's built around who you want to become, everything changes. Because when your identity shifts, your behavior follows. This is the missing link most people never see. They try to change their habits without changing how they see themselves. But true transformation happens from the inside out. Let me break it down. If you tell yourself, I'm trying to get in shape, you're still identifying as someone not in shape. That's a temporary effort. But if you say, I'm someone who takes care of my body, that identity starts to shape your choices. Going to the gym isn't a chore anymore. It's just something someone like you does. Systems that stick are always connected to identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the strength of your systems. And strong systems are built around who you believe you are. That's why it's not enough to write down what you want. You've got to decide who you are becoming. Then build routines that reinforce it. Let's say you want to become a disciplined person. What would someone like that do each day? Maybe they wake up early, plan their day, stick to their routines, and don't make excuses. If you create a system around those actions, you're not just completing tasks, you're shaping a new identity. Every repetition is a vote for the person you're becoming. And here's the powerful part. Once your identity locks in, your habits become easier. You don't have to force them. You don't have to negotiate with yourself every morning. You just live in alignment. You're no longer pretending to be productive. You are a productive person. You're not trying to act motivated. You are someone who shows up, no matter what. But identity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. You don't become a writer by thinking about writing. You become a writer by writing every day. You don't become financially disciplined by reading money tips. You become financially disciplined by tracking your spending, saving consistently, and saying no when it matters. So the question isn't just what do I want to achieve? It's who do I want to become? Once you answer that, build your system to match it. Let your actions echo your identity. Let your routine speak louder than your goals. Because when your system aligns with your identity, you don't have to force results. You become the kind of person who naturally creates them. And that right there is how you build a life that lasts. Not just a streak of good days, but a future you're proud to live in. Number 10. Eliminate the optional. Make it non-negotiable. Here's a hard truth. As long as something is optional, it will get skipped. It doesn't matter how motivated you are. If you give yourself the option to back out, eventually you will. That's why successful people remove the option altogether. They build systems filled with non-negotiables. No debating, no delaying, no maybe later, just action. Think about how you treat things that are truly non-negotiable. You don't decide whether or not to brush your teeth. You don't consider if you're going to show up for work when your paycheck depends on it. You just do it because it's locked in. It's not on the table for discussion. Now imagine if you treated your personal goals the same way. What if your workout wasn't optional? What if working on your business, saving money, reading, or journaling wasn't something you try to fit in? It was something you always do. That small shift turns wishful thinking into real progress. The problem is, most people build systems full of flexibility. They say things like, I'll try to work out, or I'll try to eat healthy. Try. That's a weak word. That's permission to fail. There's no commitment in try. There's only commitment in do. So here's the mindset shift. Decide what matters most and make it non-negotiable. No skipping, no excuses, no emotional vote. You do it because that's what someone committed to the result does. Now, does that mean you go 100 miles per hour every single day, forever? No. But it does mean you show up somehow, some way, every single day, even on low energy days, even when life gets messy. You adjust the intensity, not the commitment. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs do it when they feel like it. Professionals do it because it's part of the system. Let's be practical. Start by picking 3 things in your life that matter most to your goals, not 10, just 3. Then turn those into daily or weekly non-negotiables. Maybe it's a 30-minute workout. Maybe it's writing 500 words. Maybe it's reviewing your budget. Whatever it is, lock it in. Put it on your calendar. Make it a rule, not a request. And when your mind starts to make excuses, and it will, don't argue. Just remind yourself, this isn't optional. You can negotiate with everything else, but not with this. These are the pillars of your system. You don't mess with the foundation, because when you treat your goals like an option, they'll always come last. But when you treat them like a priority, they'll finally get the respect and the results they deserve. So draw your line, make the decision, build your system around doing, not trying. When it becomes non-negotiable, it becomes inevitable. And that's the kind of system that leads to real, lasting change. Number 11, audit, adjust, and improve the system. No system is perfect from day one. That's just the truth. You're not going to build a flawless routine on the first try, and you shouldn't expect to. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. What matters most is that you're building something, then, over time, you audit it, adjust it, and improve it. That's how real success is created. Not in one big leap, but through consistent upgrades. Think about it like this. A system is like a machine. When you first build it, it might clunk a little, it might stall, it might even break down here and there. But that doesn't mean you throw it out. It means you fix it, you tweak it, you oil the gears, you improve the setup. And every time you do, it gets smoother, stronger, more efficient. This is where most people drop the ball. They build a routine, try it for a few days or weeks, and when something doesn't feel perfect, they quit. But quitting isn't the answer. Reviewing is. You've got to step back regularly and ask yourself, what's working? What's not? Where am I wasting time? What part of this system feels heavy and what part feels light? That kind of reflection isn't just helpful. It's essential because your life changes, your schedule shifts, your energy levels fluctuate. What worked 6 months ago might not work today. So your system has to evolve with you. It's not rigid, it's responsive. And the best systems, they're designed to be flexible. They're built with feedback loops. Maybe every Sunday you sit down and look at your week. What did you actually get done? What did you skip? Why? Don't beat yourself up. Analyze, adjust, improve. Success isn't about being stubborn. It's about being smart. Let's say you plan to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, but after 2 weeks you're hitting snooze 5 days out of 7. Don't just call yourself lazy. Ask yourself why. Maybe 5 a.m. is too early. based on your current lifestyle. Maybe 6 a.m. with a better nighttime routine would be more realistic. That's not quitting. That's adjusting. The same goes for habits, tracking methods, even your environment. If your current way of tracking progress feels like a chore, change it. Find a method that fits you. Don't force yourself into a system that drains you. Build one that supports you. Remember, a system is meant to serve you, not the other way around. So treat it like a living, breathing thing. Tune it up, optimize it, make it better as you go. You are not locked into one way of doing things. In fact, if you're not improving the system regularly, you're falling behind. Because the moment you stop adjusting is the moment you start drifting. Don't let that happen. Audit often, adjust boldly, improve consistently. That's how you build a system that doesn't just work, it wins. Number 12. Let the system carry you when motivation dies. Here's the final truth you need to understand. Motivation will fail you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. No matter how inspired you feel today, there will come a time when the fire fades. You'll wake up tired. Life will get chaotic. The mood just won't be there. And in that moment, your entire future depends on one thing: your system. Motivation is a burst of energy, a spark. It gets you started, and that's great. But you can't build a life on sparks. You need a foundation. You need structure. That's why systems matter. When motivation is gone, and it will go, it's your system that keeps you moving. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it, you just do it. It's part of your system. It's a habit, baked into your routine. That's exactly what you need for the goals that actually matter to you. Whether it's working out, writing, saving money, studying, or building something meaningful, you need to turn the action into a default setting, not a decision you have to debate every day. And that's the beauty of a well-built system. It removes the need for emotional energy. You don't have to feel inspired to execute, you just follow the process. Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. That's when it matters most. Here's something you must accept. Not every day will be amazing. You won't always feel like pushing. That's reality. But what separates the successful from the stuck is this. Successful people don't wait to feel good. They keep showing up because their system is already in place. It tells them what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And because they trust the system, they stay on track. This is why building a system isn't a nice to have. It's a must. It's your insurance policy against laziness, discouragement, and chaos. When your mind says skip it, your system says do it anyway. And you listen, not because you're inspired, but because you've trained yourself to show up, no matter what. You won't win every day, but your system ensures you never fall too far behind. And over time, that consistency becomes your advantage. While everyone else is starting and stopping, hyped up one week and burned out the next, you're still moving forward.